Alrighty then. Hi everyone, CharlesRichard Zerilli here. Welcome to my personal channel relative to my campaign, which is a non-political campaign representing the Declaration of Independence Party. Why is this key? Because we have so many different agitations and separations today, that so many things which are separating. And the one document which, let me just grab it. The one document which mentions much of this, which is really very interesting, because I wrote a book on this, and the tail end of that is the Declaration of Independence. What I see is it mentions that a decent respect of the opinions with an S of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation, which means it seems like it's an obligation of the authority to express to us why we are separating. So I'm going to make this a brief meeting this evening because I'd like to just get some questions in here. First, I would like to extend myself. Let me just go one more step here to make this more clearer. Okay. And I can see also that forgive me, I've had a little technical glitch here. I'm starting to realize why when we are streaming live on YouTube, we seem to be having, I don't want to mute the microphone. I think I've accomplished it. Well, this will be a learning lesson because we're just getting the ability to live stream on YouTube. So it does say that we're streaming live, so okay. As we continue. So what I see is that we are so beautiful in who we are as a race, as a people. And I see so many people are trying so hard. How do we recover from this pandemic? Who really is a direct person who knows direct knowledge of science and who can accomplish professionalism within a right to our humanity, our decency, what we represent? That's a question. So we'd like to answer that right now, today, a little bit later on, because I believe there's certain criterias, and the one thing that I mentioned, and I will bring this up again, it's about design. So when we see design as a little hand sketch, and I kind of made a little sketch here. Let me just bring it in close to the camera real quick. So how is it that we can align what it is relative to align a government with our people, with our legislative, executive, and judicial branches that supplies everyone? And the one thing I have written on the side of this document is design clarity. So while we can speak of it and we have the declaration, which is not being adhered, I believe, and not even being spoken of in detail, by the way, in detail, it's important, by the Democrats or the Republicans, yet I believe the Declaration is what formed America. I was very offended last week when a good friend of mine, and I didn't know his feelings, and we never spoke of this until I mentioned the Declaration of Independence. We don't see each other much, but we finally got a chance. Hey, how you doing? What are you up to? And I expressed, I am looking to get on the ballot, a national ballot, running for the president of our beautiful United States. He goes, really? I said, absolutely. And he goes, so what's your platform? What's your angle? I said, well, the platform is a Declaration of Independence party that joins all parties, and they won't allow a reason or excuse to not join the Democrats and Republicans to join and in the same, because we have a pandemic. We have a national crisis here. We also have, on the other side of that, for those who don't really want to talk about our climate, but we have to talk about it. We have to face this. It's kind of like, you have something growing on your body, and what do? Avoid it? Before you know it, you can't walk. You can't do that. It's not really a good idea. So what I've done is I've made it a lot easier for those who don't really want to accept the problems with our climate. And how I've phrased this, I believe, is the best way to do it, is let's talk about standardized global maintenance. And I think that maintenance is way beyond when one of the runner-ups at this point, JB, I'm not going to mention his name, we'll do initials, and he mentions $2 trillion is going to go into it. Exactly doing what? Exactly what? I want to know. I want to know in detail. I want to see the complete plan, because I would have a complete plan for this. And someone who does detailed plans, what does that really mean to do detailed plans? Well, very simply, what does it mean to do detailed plans? So this was my doing. I'm part owners of a theater on Staten Island, and we were looking to open. The partners now want to knock it down, but it took 3 years to do a plan. That didn't work. So I said to my other partner, I said, would you mind if I step in and take care of the blueprint? And he goes, sure. And the younger guy didn't like it, but you're taking 3 years. As far as I'm concerned, you're dragging your knuckles. What's up with that? Just like on Saturday Night Live, with that guy, you go, ooh, wee, what's up with that? So let's take it to the next level. So I jumped in 6 months. We had 40,000 square feet documented. This is the byproduct of it. Let me come in a little further. These are too big to put on a scanner. So this is part of the blueprint. This is the theater itself. Let's see. So in short, this is where bars would be and all the rest of that, and other stores face to the street. And then here's a stage, mezzanine area. Here's a stage here, right here. So in short, you get the idea. The point is, when you have a blueprint, it's a plan, it's a design, and it's a design of completion. And the one thing I don't see is how we can have the intelligence, the abilities, the support, unless all of you realize that this is what's missing, because it's easy not to care. So I see the design of our weather as standardized maintenance is what's needed. So those who don't want to talk about climate, you don't have to, because I already see it. I already know, and I feel very confident. Not only is it provable, and I asked the one question, why is it 41.5 degrees if we dig 10 feet down on our Earth? any way you dig, except next to a hot springs, hot volcano, or a permafrost areas. So it's probably about 95% of our globe, if you dig 10 feet down on the land masses, which is 70% ocean on our whole entire globe and approximately 70% land, it's actually 41.5 degrees. So why is that? I answer that question in my book. When we answer that, climate change is reversible. Is JB talking about this? DJT was BS? Sorry, there's an initial stand for that. I'm not doing that. Forget that. But it's his name. And I'm not signaling anything here with my hands. I want to be clear about that. Forgive me, part of my descent is being Italian, and a lot of times you get Italian with your hands. So when I'm giving the okay sign and things like that, it's literally in plain verbiage. So I want it to be clear right now. I'm not signaling anybody. I'm straight up. I also want it to be understood. I have a folder that I have literally contacted 1,800 billionaires, which is every one of them that exists in the United States. And only one got back to me. And you know what he responded? Don't bother me. So the funny thing is I've had some unique things happen. And when this happened, let me just grab this if you don't mind. Sometimes I think when it's hard to believe electronics, which is also getting to our weather, this is relative. This is a text that I'd like to talk about. How does something like this happen to someone who's a presidential candidate? And why are there no laws protecting me or anyone who's done that? It makes me wonder the other presidential candidates was something relative to them as well, because this is a phone, is one of my presidential secretaries. She's no longer with me because it bugged her out. And what it is one of my phone numbers that the service, this particular service, does not text. And I use it frequently. And someone had to know that I went on a vacation last year and took the link that she helped me with and put it into this. So now it appears, so obviously information was stolen. Where's the privacy laws for that? It was stolen, put into a cell phone that doesn't text, and it went to her saying that I have a full-blown flu. Quote, I have the full-blown flu, can barely lift my head. These are not my words. I didn't do this. I've not had the corona, knock on wood. And I wasn't concerned when it came out because of what I had accomplished in my life. What I have accomplished, I understand epigenetics. Has anyone running who's a candidate for president of the United States can say that they understand epigenetics and the things I've accomplished? I don't think either one of them respectfully can say these things, but I'm very mechanical. I have 14 licenses, 5 EPA certifications within. I now have a certification for hypnotherapy. So we'll go over that in a few minutes, so you know who I am. By the way, my name is CharlesRichard Zerilli. I see some people are joining. And I'd like to just do a station identification break so you know who I am. Declaration of Independence Party, joining all parties and not giving anyone any reason to say, well, we don't want to be part of that. No, no, no. There's a pandemic. We are a human family. America, we are all connected by a common thread of our American flags. This is important. So before I go back into this, I'd like to take a break for a moment and where one of my certifications, and when you earn these things, it's very prestigious. And it's hard to see the word. I have one of my little imagination things over here. It's a piece of artwork. But where the environmental safe contractor, my NRP certificate is, I'd like to kiss the American flag. Hope you don't mind. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love all of us. It's important to have some consideration, and all of us are beautiful. We need to be told some positive things, led in the right way. Someone who understands science and business and ecology, forensics and physics. Several of my licenses, a few of my licenses have the word master in it. It's kind of interesting. I kind of like that. I don't have a big head. I can fit through the door. In fact, I could probably lift most of you over my head right now and run down the street, at least a good amount of portion. So I have respect for people. I try to respect what I am, and I definitely respect all of you. I don't care if you're bi, gay, trans, queer, lesbian, straight man, straight woman, family person, single, no matter who you are, I love us. And I think it's important, whoever does design, include everything we represent. Right now, as we spoke, think about this. This is the truth. Right now, as we spoke, everyone knows this already. But when you bring it forwards, you then circumvent what is relative within our psychological training in our IR and our RAFs. This is mental framing, and this is part of what we go through. Internal representation and reticulated activating systems. Part of it is we have to delete things out. So my heart goes out to all of us, and so what are we really facing? So no matter who we are, I think it's important we need to be told we're beautiful. So I feel showing some love. Mwah, I love you, ladies. I want to call them ladies. Hope you don't mind. Uh, it is what it is. But when someone has a text that they could get into my information and use a link that was from another phone and put it into this phone, and then I go to make a police report, and there's nothing that warrants. I'd like to say his name, but I won't. But the 120 precinct on Staten Island under Mayor de Blasio would not allow me. I've also emailed Mayor de Blasio and also Mario Cuomo. They've done nothing about it. They've not got back to me. I don't understand why. So why are there not laws? So my point is, more than anything, we need to protect information. So one of my questions that I'd like to ask this evening, before I go any further, is how come you and I have so many different stories? So why is it that we're hearing other things about other nations, and then some of my friends live in those countries, and not only do they tell me of why are we causing an anguish and having some aspects of war go on there, but we don't really understand why, and some of the things from America when we're not in war are happening, but we want to break that down with, I want to say, by design. Some things we might not know. And how do we understand these things? Well, I believe when we have media that can overlap, we feel comfortable, and we would have more faith in those things that we don't know, because we can't know everything. However, by design, whoever does that design would know every detail. It's the way that it is. So I just wanted to say this about the electronics. So we need laws of electronic protections. We don't have those things. I'm proof of it. My name is CharlesRichard Zerilli. I had my cell phones tampered into. I've had information stolen, and police department has no laws from what they told me. And I like to say these names, but I really don't want to mention their names. I love our police, and I see they're stuck in the middle too. So I'd like to ask a question. So in our intelligence, how do we move forward? How do we face the climate? Well, I asked and I answered that question about the 41.5, and we most definitely can go forwards. We definitely have answers to this, and we can reverse our climate situation. So those who aren't sure of it, you don't have to know. The reality is, what you need to know is you've never seen America forefront standard earth maintenance. That's the key. Standard earth maintenance by design. Design is what I speak of. So I'm going to back out of the way for a second. And what do we see here? New respect and balance. Please be open here. Real design is key. And then my website, timetojoin.us. That's TIMETOJOIN.us. One word. Don't confuse it by other websites and other people who have nothing to do with me. It's all one word. And sometimes things are above and below mine. Timetojoin.us. CharlesRichard Zerilli at your service. So I think standard earth maintenance is extremely important. And I did this on purpose, having a black guy shake a white guy's hand. I love this. On why one of my rentals, I'm a real estate entrepreneur for over 20 years. I've had people 17 and 20 years. Go ask them if you want about me. I tell them, no kidding, it's your home. I want you to feel comfortable. And what do you think that does? It makes a comfortability. I have respect for people. We need to have America feel this. And I'll be honest with you, in 90 days across America, we will see the curtailing of this pandemic nosedive if I was your commander-in-chief. Not if not. When I got two people in my life who were diabetic, stopped insulin, and grew out of being a diabetic, which means they didn't need to have it any longer. And I want to say that certain things I've accomplished, I'm not going to go into details, because these things, you have to understand also, this segues into something else. Where is our intelligence and our allegiance to America? Do you want to be number one? Do you want to be number one? Do we care? Do we care? We care. We don't know. Yes, we care. Hey, we care. Come on. Everybody cares. And then when something doesn't go right, you get depressed. So how you know, if you're not depressed, then you care. It's pretty simple. So I believe that there's a lot of natural things, which is several things that I've integrated in other ways, that we need to take these and put them all into design. Why? Let's do the math for a second. I could name about a dozen different people who do natural remedies, and they're documented. That's right, you heard me. Documented. Reversing AIDS. Not one person died. Documented. Jonathan Ortega was full-blown autistic. Two mother and father of police officers. The autism is gone, full spread spectrum for 14 years. He'd bang his head on the door. Ma, that's how he wouldn't talk. That's how I have to go out. Ma, bang, bang, bang on the door. And he would go out in the backyard. His mother would open the door for him because he's full-blown autistic. Well, guess what? He's no longer autistic. How'd that happen? Did someone put a rabbit out of someone else's butt and it became magic? Guess what? If it was digital. This is real. That's fake. Let's talk about real. These are real names, real events. What I've accomplished is 100% true and real. I love America, but I also love being number one. So what do? Release all of the natural cures, and then 25 million jobs are gone. And then all of the follow-ups. You have to understand, the medical industry, on average, nets $3 to $4.3 trillion a year. You heard me correctly. So what being sick makes part of us be number one in America. To me, there's a compromise because I can see other ways for all of us to want to be part of it, to not have to be sick, and to still make and be number one. But it takes collaboration of design. You can't just have these people who want to do natural. I respect them. I love them. I want to hug them and I want to kiss their cheek. I want to kiss them so much. I'm not kidding. But when you stand back, if every person who wants to release something natural, do we destroy America being number one? And then how many jobs would we destroy? So by design, let's talk about real design. Design, very, very important. And design, I like the way, because it's small, lowercase de and sig and capital and uppercase. So I like to have fun with my words. Call that one word for word fun. Word game fun. That's what it is. Word game fun. So I believe we have to have a balance here. And when you talk about design, it includes everyone. So I asked a couple of questions. If you have news and I have news, how come so many of us have different stories? Because information is not protected by law, let alone a presidential candidate, let alone all of those presidential candidates who bailed out. Did they have problems go on and they didn't know about it? I don't know. I did. I am. So I have a presidential video. It's taken about 100 hours so far. I'm not able to do it. Why? It keeps on reverting itself back. I went on 4 different computers. If I wasn't a technician, I would think something different. But the bottom line is we need protective laws. And I printed this up. And here's where I think this is really, really key. Let me go. It's a statement. And the quote is, when a time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. Now that's a quote. And I didn't want to tell you the quote of it. It's not the point. The point is, listen to the words. When a time of universal deceit, we don't know who to trust. We're hearing this is wrong. We don't know about that. A different story over here, a different story over there. He said something different. She said something different. Now they're arguing. Stop. Stop. Everyone stop. We need new laws. What does CharlesRichard Zerilli represent? Go on my website, Time to Join, TIMETOJOIN. And I like to do capital IN because we're America. .us, in us, time to join .us, in us, time to join .us. So in a time of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. So true. Where do we go from here? Can I say to you, I don't look like Brad Pitt and I might not have his abs? Sorry, Jen, because they're back together again. God bless them. I love both of them. I just believe we need to reorchestrate our Constitution to match the Declaration of Independence. It never had. I'll repeat that. Our Constitution needs to be reframed. My name is CharlesRichard Zerilli, forefronting the Declaration of Independence Party. We need, no question, some wise, strong heart. So, in fact, I'd like to change the background for a couple of minutes, because since I learned how to use this thing, it is so cool how many different features. So I hope you don't mind. And thank you. So I got my logo up there. CharlesRichard Zerilli, adding a wise, strong heart to our government. Just take a good look at that. Or should I do it on this side? Better. So, adding a wise, strong heart. CharlesRichard Zerilli, the Declaration of Independence Party. You can see that it says it up on the logo there. And how do we make this work? We have so much stuff. What does the Declaration say? That we are separating. If we could use any one word, what's the one word? We're separating. Let's for a moment speak no words right now. No words. And take a look at everything that's happening globally and domestically. We are disheveled as a race. How many neighbors have trivial fights? We fight with each other, so many different things. Drugs across America like you wouldn't believe. I'm on Staten Island. In Staten Island, we had some heroin thing going on. It's the largest place in America. I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed. And yet, our government doesn't show a wise, strong heart. Let's take a look at that again. Wise, strong heart, and a nice heartbeat there. Boom. I love that. Little sound effects, the heartbeat there. So, how do we get past this? I think the first step, reframe our Constitution, matching the Declaration, which has never been done. Part of that, we have to accept life is not perfect. Moore's Law, all these businesses, I love them. We need to feed them. How many people have huge, huge corporations today and have the manpower, the facilities, the payroll services, the land, the portable equipment, stationary equipment, these things across everything that we represent. So in 2016, I made a video, Charles R. Zerilli for president in 2016. And when I contacted 40 national people across the board, no one got back to me. And what I said back then is we have a national, international emergency, making it a public debriefing with our climate. No one was listening. So now I'm past that because I still agree, but I've changed my verbiage. We need standardized maintenance. We need earth maintenance because that would remedy everyone. It would satisfy the people who don't want to face it, but yet they'd feel good. It's kind of like someone coming over and changing the oil on your car. Boom. You changed my oil on my car? What do you think? The next day they're feeling like they got something for free and someone did the right thing? What is that called? What is that called? Someone to do something behind your back? What is that called? Well, very simple. It's in the Declaration of Independence. And it is called why am I not being able to go right to it? I know it's hidden. This is actually right after them. Got it. Okay, thank you. So what is that called? It is called Sacred Honor. This is the Declaration of Independence. It is called Sacred Honor. It's part of what it is to be American. When was the last time you looked out for someone behind their back and they didn't know? This is not what was shown. On my watch, this could part of be how we would escalate who we are. I believe escalating us as a human race. I know it's not happening now, but I think it's needed. Is it possible? Is it possible? Yes! Yes, it's possible. How do I know? When was the last time you heard of the word brain food? When was the last time you fed your brain? People don't do that. People don't talk like that anymore. People used to. You know how I know? Because here's a picture of the Trinity Church in Manhattan. And what does it show in this circle right here? It's called the Pineapple Land. Huh. What is that? A pineapple? No, no, no. It's spelled close to it. It's called the Pineapple Land. It's in between my fingers. So if you put your fingers here, put your fingers here, it's in your brain. It's a command center of intelligence. It turns out certain chemicals hurt it. I'm not going to go into details. We could feed this. We're not. You wonder why we see people having more crime and more this, more that. But what about the businesses that rely on business when things aren't going right and they make business off of that business? I'm not saying it should stay that way. I believe that we are suffering people in a wrong degree, and I feel it's not right. And I believe there's another way to make it right because the Declaration of Independence mentions it. And you can't mention the Declaration without understanding what suffering is. Not only does this Declaration, I don't need it, not only does the Declaration say that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal with certain unalienable rights endowed by our Creator, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So, did you realize I just mentioned suffering? No, you didn't. That's why I had to write a book on this. Suffering is part of what everyone goes through every day. And when was the last time you felt 100% content? Everyone around you felt great. Everything was perfect. Life doesn't work like that. You can get moments of contention and you feel very good and you feel beautiful and people around you, you have a picnic, a party with your family, you feel great. And then, everything cycles, so to speak. So where do we go from there? Do we accept it? We have to understand who we are as human beings. That's part of being primal. And we've never faced really being primal openly because of sociology and psychology and people who now can even teach these things. That's why I went to a hypnotherapy class. Not because I want to hypnotize people, but although I can, when I had learned how it is and how to affect the mental framing of what we represent in our minds and how we have RAS, internal representation, IR, and the RAS once again stands for Reticular Activating System. So these things are beautiful about framing. When do we stand and look to make business and feel good and know that we have to accept parts of life as suffering? So I'd like to take a moment, and I rewrote my global modern resolution of America. So the global modern resolution plan, of America. So I'd like to give you a couple of snippets. And I'm just going to read the first page. It's actually half a page because it is a one-page document, but I'm only going to read half of the page to you. So I was on the radio today. I'm sorry, yes, 2 days ago? 2 days ago I was on the radio, and I asked the person, would you mind if I read part of this? I only read 2 paragraphs. So for those who would miss it, this is also on my website. It's not the updated version that this one is, but I'm going to update it in the next couple of days. But I'd like to read this to you now. So please pass this on and share, especially if you like it, with 3 people minimum, because what I stand for is design, balance, new business. I want to attract turned off people first. We have so many things that are being disheveled. If we say no words, we can see how many things are falling apart. And then we say words, and then people make up for, well, it's okay. No, it's not. We are not feeding our brains in the right way that we could from a governmental standpoint, and then doing the actions that will be relative to doing that. Everything is relative to America being number one. Everything is relative to us going forward and being positive. And of course, there are always things that wrap around part of us to survive and be safe. We always have securities. Before I read this, I just want to say I don't really believe the police department's being defunded right. And now look what's happening in New York City. We're having more killings and other things happen, like I said. And we're not appeasing the police because there's a whole political thing involved in this thing. And I believe it needs to be unpoliticized. It needs to be by design. And everyone needs to see the clarity of it so we're all on the same page, because we've not done that. No one is speaking of, on my last backdrop, of design. So I think it's really important. So I think being able to do this, we can be part, feel good, come forwards. So I'd like to read this, and this is Very interesting. Um, so anyone who likes this, please pass it on with 3 people. I'm looking to get national coverage, and only you can make that happen. If you like what I'm saying even a little bit, you got to pass me on, please. You got to pass me on, because just like the kids, when they had the gun control, and in 3 days, what do? They staged a walkout on school. In 3 days, all the kids did this. And what are you adults going to do? Sit back and do nothing? Time to act. Let's rock and roll here. So we need to believe and bring in those people who are the other parties beyond the 2 people we think who aren't direct science knowledge, who haven't gotten someone to stop insulin. I have. She grew out of being a diabetic. I can't tell you how, but these things are very doable. People are documenting this in actual literature. And I want to break the 90% truth mark. Please truth check me. It's extremely important, because I want to guide us right. I want us to feel beautiful. How many single women out there today don't even want to be with a guy, and they're electing? That's why divorce rates are going down, because so many people are made to be single. With the shovel, we have to admit this. Let's grab the reins and pull it back in. Let's make this tight again. Let's have a concise ability and move forwards. And as we escalate up in a new horizon. In fact, let's give the backdrop of a new horizon for my reading. So I do believe there are several different things. When I hear someone tell me that they really don't care to have a boyfriend because it's just too much labor, that to me is a little bit compromising. And I don't understand why they would need to elect, although I do, because when we see the ability that we don't really face things, and we fight and we argue, and look at that beautiful sunrise behind me now. I love it. I just want to hold this up because this is what it's about. Don't ever stop your imagination. Very, very important, because it lets you exercise new ideas and things like that. So I do really understand why, because we're so hurt. We're not supportive. No one is supporting us. We have news and media that's not leading us right. But yet, when we come to watch commercials, what do we see? Every race and every religion selling to us. People who are mentally challenged, people who are in wheelchairs, people who are everything you can imagine. Black, white, green, brown, every race, every religion, every creed, you name it. And they're selling us products, we buy it. But when it comes to the news, and what are we doing when we see the news? We are training by design, IR, internal representation, one myopic view of what we think of what the world is in the flip of a second of a thought. A lot of us are hurt. And we have to admit that. When we admit that, we now, like a married couple who forefronts a trauma to go forwards, and you find the answers and you feel good when you get it over with, and then you enjoy each other to the point where you feel love in a new way because you got it off your chest. America needs to get what we have going off our chest. We need new solidarity. We need to see design. So I'm going to read this now. So once again, please share this if you like it. Using word game news, making serious topics easy to digest. Spell check, laugh out loud. Life ain't perfect. That's exactly what I wrote. So let's try to miss the point. Being facetious, of course. By and with the support of all people, for them, for us, finally, which means all of us making it happen, this is what needs to be done. So need I raise my voice here to get excited, or get excited to make my point? I probably won't. So please listen to my words and understand what the Declaration was written, and the kinesthetic, the value of those words were huge. That's why I had to write a book. And it shows it to me. It's from birth to death, whether it's a person, business, or government. And the Declaration stands for those things for any living human. Why do you think it says one in the course of human events? It doesn't say we the people. This is one in the course of human events. Why? Because it was meant for every human being, and that whoever would promulgate top echelon authority, as we are in America, we are responsible as we net worth more than 52%, approximately 58% of the world's net worth globally. That's a fact. 7 to 9 people own 2.1 to 2.4 trillion dollars worth globally. So we need balance. Design would show that without going too deep into the rest of that. So please share this if you like it. So, and it starts off, and I wrote, now, partial, amazing, powerful quote from our past frame is forgotten, however, now integrated. And now it starts. When in the course of human events, it become necessary for one people, that's all of us, one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of our earth, and have someone initiate a balanced remedy plan for our natural lives with design, now causing a new balance of ecology, business, people, and for our earth and people's guarantee of our government expected, not of our paternal habits for major monies, suffering much primarily, taking the liberty to say inadvertently. And okay, maybe not you now, so just gauge all sufferings on a scale from 1 to 10 and rate it, of all. Seems only climbing. Do you want that to only continue? So I ask, do we find human reasons to agree or human reasons to separate on average? Because you can't do both simultaneously. We act anyway. Well, so in our families, business, and in and from our government too, and now globally, especially in our police departments, while there are many that are good, and that we ourselves can take advantage of authority sometimes too, and that many ways to consider exist to do so. So here we now open that up. Also, how many types and degrees of outright sufferings exist to consider as part of open design in the vast diversities we are now? Do you only want to have that only increase and pretend suffering doesn't exist at all? Question mark, question mark, question mark. Especially like now. And what about if it becomes on you, even if it's not on you now? Right? Good question, why not? Is allowing suffering unconditionally your definition of being American? Just throw that out there. But instead, for respect and decent guides, as our Declaration of Independence already states, it will be the direct interpretation of whoever leads us next. And if they can see this fair balance that I am mentioning here within, and for real, advocate it, share it, even as desperately, time to share it. Absolutely. As some know, we fell short as our original framers created it. It was, as I see it, a stepping stone to now. Now, us, we, quote unquote, ours, as a country needs to act through her people in whole, and now needs to become a better maturity to a better height on that climb. To now not be afraid and to face and accept this human aptitude, that aperture, as it has not been done before, accommodating more is needed, especially on a large-scale global growth set of us, or we. As when written 244 years ago, there was only approximately 1 billion people globally then. Now there are 7.9 billion beautiful people and only growing. And yes, I like to think ahead and add the extra 100 million people. Being prepared and think ahead is what I enjoy and what I like to do, that I understand design. And I would like to understand detailed design excitingly, openly, breathing new life into every living, breathing life and thing, happily, sharing that. However, at this rate, we will only still climb unless we open up to each other and join with a new respect and a new honor that our country, America, must lead, being that we presently own 52 to 58% of all global business daily. It is our responsibility for all of us to be leaders in that right and accept this obvious and open, blatant responsibility like there is an elephant in the room and we are in a bungalow. I thought that was kind of cute. For each of us to not deny this, to now push off that we need to become models and learn to gain in ourselves from what we do to others. Feel that good and feel that gain for each of us individually, not get lost only in our individual trials and tribulations. Thenceforth, expanding confidence into humanity, into our families, and others near and far. Yes, Ameri can, Ameri, we can. Yes. The following is a request plan that such in all the powers of the universe, including the powers of the sun, the moon, the earth, every planet, every prophet, laws of nature, nature's God, aka Lonang, our centers, God, all good light, and all the powers of all the expense, and every American person possible will provide Charles Richard Zerilli, aka nicknames Charles, Charles Richard, Charles Earth, A to Z, or the Doctor, the full ability to correct, respect, reconnect, and adjust and re-respect our entire governmental systems for us with people's inputs as guides, applying design openly to now allow for 7.9 billion people and only growing globally as follows on timetojoin.us. So I'll give it that 3 times. Anyone needs a pen, I'll just waste a couple of seconds so you can get a pen. That's timetojoin.us, timetojoin.us. Once again, timetojoin.us, timetojoin.us. I'll give it to you again, timetojoin.us, timetojoin.us. Site for us on the web, done now within our time for a better time, and for all, and for every American possible, for more time, and for that our creators will be proud of, as you and I need to feel too. I know I do. By quantum mechanics and combined quantum physics mechanic factors, life here is no mistake and needs to be worth it. I think, undeniably, we all have a clarity of this and need to feel better, somehow feel good about us and our variable sufferings daily. That is a fact of life, and yes, needs to be worth it, right? It's got to be. No, life is not perfect. Let's accept this. Let's move on it and talk about this that way. For all, while being open to each other to see, to have life work with all needed and the American support be carried out together, as we feel good for what we did and feel good for our next descendants to come within a common thought, that all people reach out to me now for the right reasons to join me and feel good to do this. A tri-purpose reason, yes, to share this with 3 people minimum, or don't stop. Spread me like I am the virus, a good virus for good change. And I am attracting especially those who are turned off like me. And I do design, so why I'm putting myself into this, giving up my civilian life. I love us. I care for us. I see design. I can see we need the people who have so much money and power, and the laws have let them run their businesses and hurt the earth and hurt people and have toxic foods. And let's redesign. We need to include them. We need to consider releasing natural things that it doesn't destroy our national security. We have what? 350 million American people here in America. We're responsible for the globe, I feel, because we hold the most. We own the most on a daily net. But also to include the people who do natural things and how we can circumvent giving us better health and not lose those jobs because we have what? As far as I'm concerned, I can't tell you the stories I've heard of senior citizens who were sick for a very long time, and they went to a couple of my heroes, guys that I learned from. The things I've accomplished myself, that's why I feel very content. 90 days, this pandemic will be done. Done. And I feel consistent to say and confident to say that you'll see the curve going down. So there's a lot of stories going around. I'm not going to partake in any of them. But we need to be considerate. Design considers all. So what do? Just release things and destroy how many jobs? Where to replace the jobs from? How do we there's everything that we could think of while I'm speaking. Someone died, someone had a baby, someone got the corona, someone had a cold, someone fell, someone got a new job, someone got fired. Name it. Everything you could think of is happening right now as we speak. And it's happened again. And it's happened again. So design considers all of these things. It's fun, actually. It's fun to the point where we don't have to anguish it, but we could put it on the table and speak of it openly with respect. That's the whole point. You have to make some fun out of what's horrible, because otherwise you never want to face it. You want to face a disaster? No, who does? But this is what I've learned as a professional troubleshooter, public service for 40 years. The things I've accomplished and what I've given up to be here, you could not imagine. By the way, little station identification break before we cut out. CharlesRichard Zerilli, the Declaration of Independence Party, at your service. I love all of us, and we need to care a little bit. We need to see design. we need to consider every piece, because if we do, to reverse and help our earth, we need the very people who had laws letting them pollute and all this. So guess what? They have the resources to immediately exchange what it is we require. So what do? Get anguished and get mad and fire all these people? How are you going to put all those connections back together? I'm sorry. Whoever you think I want to see by design. If you have a better way to think of this, I want to know it. I'm very open. I don't say I know everything. I don't know. In fact, I like to say I know nothing. It's easier that way, but I know design. The blueprints I've designed, I don't have one of my other ones. I've literally designed physical blueprints, and the architects sign it off on my design. Every letter, every aspect, the layout, everything. America now needs to be designed. We need to take our Declaration of Independence and we need to fold it into a new constitution. We need to make new business, and we need to look out for the people who are turned off, which is probably a majority of us. The news is not really telling us vetted information. You know, once again, when someone is able to use one of my assistants' cell phones to put a fake text in it, and to steal information from another cell phone and put it into this, and to use a number that doesn't even text. And she didn't know any better, because when she saw the whole link from a vacation I took last year, a year before, whatever it was, and they took that link and they put it into this, and so she thought that was the right number. What is she thinking? Because people just go by a push of one and it calls the person. So I'm not really like that. I like to remember things. I like to use my brain. I love to think. I love to think. So I love us. And so it's 7:56 p.m. A couple minutes we're going to cut out. So I'm going to leave you with a couple of these questions. So why do we all have different information? This news is not vetted. Can that be changed? The Declaration of Independence would be the remedy for that. The Declaration of Independence Party would love to procure it, showing design openly to the public, getting your feedback, not just using technical abilities of all this Facebook and all whatever it is and all that. By the way, they kicked me off Facebook. I have a presidential campaign on there. I've probably hardly befriended anybody, but what have I said on there? The things I'm saying here now, this is objectionable? I don't think so. I love America. And, you know, I even like, what's his name? I don't want to say his name either. But I look out for him and his children. Who's looking out for him to be safe tomorrow? With the last name of his, Berg. I don't want to say the rest of his name. Anyway, so I see a balance here. We all need to collaborate. And with fake information being allowed, we don't have vetted news. So what do you want? We all see something different. We're not being guided right. To me, that's not what our creator would have wanted, for us to be so disheveled. We need to pull it together, have right information, make it go positive, and have it affirmed tomorrow. 5100 always should be safe, evident. Declaration of Independence mentions this. So how long is this mess going to go on across America for us being the strongest, but now needing to adjust and update and be a wise, smart, as well as who can do this? America. CharlesRichard Zerilli. Design. I'm bringing it up. The things I've accomplished, the things I've given up in my life. Let me hear what any one of these candidates have given up in the last 2.5 years in their life. I'll go over this in a different version, and I'll make one clip what CharlesRichard Zerilli has given up to date. You wouldn't believe it. Believe it. I love us. Who knows direct science and business and efficiencies to help adjust and update our system? We update our computers, we update our phones. When was the last time we updated our government? A lot of people go like this. Oh, did you say something? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. No. I don't think so. I'm street and I'm stripped. Don't attract the street side of me. Don't do it. I love America and what needs to be done. And I have a surprise that I like to share with you. I'm not going to until you put me on national television. Actually, several surprises. One of them, you're going to understand how you see DJT. Those who like him, you thought he was doing something. When I tell you this surprise, it's going to knock your socks off. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me. No, I'm not. I love us. And my compassion, once again, I want to kiss this flag. I love you. I love our soil. I love our people. I love our children. A child today being born, 250 contaminants from the mother's umbilical cord. That's a fact. Please fact check me once again. Let's move on. We're going to almost end over here. So while this pandemic is happening now, how long do we forget? and put off standardized maintenance for our Earth, being that we hold the most stake globally. We have other things going on. What do? One is important and we forget other things. It's kind of like a magician. Hey, watch this. I'm gonna reach over here and grab your wallet. No, I don't think so. Put my wallet back. Because next you're gonna be hog-tied in the ground. My name is CharlesRichard Zerilli. I have a professional side of me, and I'm doing this non-politically, but I'm going to be political because I have to step into the arena, but I'm being non-political because I want to attract all of us people who feel like me, who've been turned off to our system. It's important. More than half of America, we've been turned off. Why does 27 states have voter suppression? If democracy, if the word democracy means we have to have people's inputs, we've blocked them out. So what are we doing? Saying one thing and then acting in another? Unfortunately, yes, we are. That's exactly what we're doing. We wouldn't have voter suppression legalized in 27 states. Fact check me, please. Let's move on. So what is the one word that describes, now I'm testing if you're listening to me or not. Ready? I'll give you some background music. Let's go. Here's the question now. What is the one word that describes what we are all going through, personally, in business, governmentally, and ecologically? I'll let you give you a couple of seconds to think. I'll give you some more music again. The one word. Ready? We're all separating. Declaration of Independence mentions it. It also has a remedy. This is fixable. I love this because I see the whole plan, and I love us. I see this coming together, but for someone who doesn't know direct science, someone who wants to argue about our climate, and someone who doesn't understand about the health, we're going to be disheveled and only stay that way. You want to be happy with that? I'm not. That's why I'm giving up my civilian life to do this. I love us, and I want to see this go to the next step. So who has complete plan and remedy of these items that is comprehensive? And I will say at this point, 8:02 p.m., I'll be cutting out. Answer that last question. My name is CharlesRichard Zerilli, at your service. The Declaration of Independence Party, joining all parties, not allowing any other reasons other parties can't join. We have national crisis here. National crisis. We need to be affirmed, pull the reins back, and thank you, baby. You ride a horse, you got to give him attention, everything. We all need praise. Part of laws of nature, nature's God, which is in the Declaration, which is any two things that mix, any chemicals, any people, any circumstances, our behaviors, it's all in the Declaration. And for any one mistake you make, because bad is a lot easier to affect us today than something that's good, you have to go out of your way to really feel good. You have to make 7 times of something good when you make a mistake that's bad. That's a theory, so I'd like to share that with some of you out there. You make a mistake with someone, and you have to make it right, then you know there's a formulation. I love us. I want to thank everyone and all the people who make these things possible, and the people who set these things up. I'm learning some of it. And Sunday, I have a light things right now, so light stop, and I'm learning how to change the background. It's kind of cool. So I'm going to put my logo and the heart in the background on the way out. I'd like to end with that because the sunshine is really cool. And I'd like to say, please be strong. Please be positive. And think very well to the respect of what we are. And we need to add a wise, strong heart into our government. We need to love our flags. We need to love and show the care and concern. There's other formulations. And because I understand my certification in hypnotherapy, the mental framing that we are, these things are so doable. And when was the last time that anyone in a government had wanted you to see that that a church from 1700 shows a picture of a pineapple gland, and what do? We've forgotten this? What do? I've seen your moments until this falls apart, and then we wonder why. Blame me. Whatever's wrong, my name is CharlesRichard Zerilli. I want the blame for all this because then I can fix it. And I love you all. Be strong, be positive, be confident, and see it done already. And I'm going to do a whole bunch of shorter clips coming up. So please check out my YouTube channel and Anyone, please share me with everyone you possibly can. Like it happened with those children with the walkout. 3 days they staged the walkout globally. I think it was globally. I know nationally they did. Almost possibly globally. So I would like you to do the same. Why? Because electronics can do that today. But don't think it's not possible. While I'm here in July, there's almost 100 days left. Put me in. This is part of, I believe, our patriotic duty. And our patriotic duty, more than anything, I believe, is to follow and comply to the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence shows, once again, I'll end it with this, from birth to death, whether it's a person, business, or government, and it has a balance, and it's equal and fair to all. And every lives matter. We need to make some recompense here. We need to give back. We need to make some resolve. We need to make a balance. My name is CharlesRichard Zerilli. Thank you for listening. I care for all. Be strong, be positive, be confident. Let's see it done. Thank you. Time to join. .us is my site. TIMETOJOIN.us. Once again, time to join. .us. All one word.